Hello, buddy. You're on the Somar channel. Enjoy watching.
Me, kid. Where are my parents? Mom's friend, who was sent to look after me. Your mom went into labor, so my parents were sent to the hospital to give birth to your little sister. Me. No, I'm serious. Where are they? I was a very distrustful child who recently learned the sad truth about Santa. But those times, soon the parents brought the baby home, and my mother lost a lot of kilograms.
At one time, I had a friend who was constantly telling me all sorts of incredible stories from his youth about how he stole cops' cars and stuff like that. But then one day, we were arrested and taken to the police station. One of the detectives checks his criminal history on the computer and suddenly declares, "Holy shit, man, you've stolen more cop cars than I've ever driven." I often look at a guitar form where Gibson's Les Paul guitar is highly revered. One day a new person comes in and writes, "I think I've found Peter Frampton's guitar." A little background. There are some very famous lost guitars in the world, and sometimes there are people who claim to have found one of them. In 99.9% of cases, this is complete bullshit. The black guitar Les Paul from the album cover Frampton Comes Alive is one of those guitars. It was lost in the 70s when a cargo plane carrying Peter's concert equipment crashed. Well, out of nowhere, this man appeared on the forum, arrogant and writing very incoherently. The evidence he provided was completely inconclusive, to avoid dragging out the story. Anyway, 2 months later, he had a chance to meet with Frampton. The guitar was verified, and Gibson released a limited version of the newfound guitar, Les Paul Frampton Comes Alive. And I was willing to bet everything that the dude was a regular liar. I was 11. I was arguing with my mom in the hallway about some nonsense. I don't even remember what. And Mom, when someone raised her voice, it was always convenient for her to have a headache. And it always seemed to me that she was pretending like that, trying to diffuse the situation and arouse compassion for herself. But this time, it didn't work with the 11-year-old me. That night, during an argument, she told me, "Wait, stop shouting. Something's wrong. Go back to your room. I feel like I'm going to die." And I looked her straight in the eyes and screamed at the top of my voice, "I hate you!" And she lost consciousness. She often said she might pass out, but that never happened. So I thought she just decided to take her acting a step further. But she didn't get up. She never got up again. I shouted at my mom to stop pretending. My dad came in, yelled at me, and told me and my younger sister to go to our rooms. After that, I heard him crying. He had never cried before. Anyway, Mom had a ruptured brain aneurysm. It was the cause of all the headaches she was experiencing. It's been 36 years. I went to many psychotherapists, pastors, and psychiatrists, but deep down I know that I killed my mother. And I don't think the day will ever come when I'll be able to forgive myself for this. Just the day before yesterday, I'm chatting with a girl. She claims to be a great shot. I've heard that before, and it's always been a lie. She says she even has a target in her room, and I egg her on like anyone can hit a target from 3 meters away. We agreed to go shooting. She arrives with her Smith & Wesson gun. She moves its target about 20 yards, about 18 meters away. I tell her move her 7 to 10 yards. You're shooting with a pistol after all. She replies, "Shut your mouth." After which, all 15 rounds of the magazine form a sieve with a diameter of about 30 centimeters in the center of the target. Once again, she fired a 9mm pistol. I really had to shut my damn mouth. When I was about 13 years old, I was on a field trip to Israel, and we were shown the Black Sea. Our guide clearly said, "Make sure that no water gets into your mouth or eyes." Every time I bring a group here, someone thinks that something terrible can happen, and then takes a sip of water or dives head first. You don't have to do that. Believe me, you don't want water to get into your mouth or eyes. And now I've been splashing in the water for half an hour. By the way, it's a really cool place. I was even yelled at for swimming too far towards Jordan. It's just unrealistic to drown there, and it occurred to me to swim across the whole sea. Then a kid named Daniel jumped into the water. With his belly in the spray, hit me and 2 other people in the face. For the next half hour, I cried in a towel, and my eyes hurt for another 5 hours. On the way back, a special corner for losers was prepared on the tour bus for Daniel and us, the people he sprayed. Oh, and that taste, I can't even describe it in words.
My husband once told me that he used to often spar with a famous kickboxer in an old rocking chair. I'm like, "Look, I know you're in great shape. Yes, I've heard about this guy. You may have been in the ring with this guy, but it's been so long that you can't check it anymore. It's been 4 years. This famous kickboxer suddenly writes to my husband, and there's a letter along the lines of, I've always wondered where my favorite sparring partner is. I think they're going to meet this summer. So maybe I'll get to know him too.
When I was a kid, I was always told to eat Indian nuts carefully, otherwise I might choke. Like my great-great-grandfather Carl. I had no idea who this Carl was or if he really lived. And one time, when I was 15, I threw Indian nuts into myself like candy and choked heavily. Then I decided to check if there was a Carl, and it turned out that my great-great-grandfather really had a younger brother, who died at the age of 5 from choking on an Indian nut. When I was about 7 years old and my brother was about 5, my parents took him to the doctor. For understanding, we were and still are very close. We never argued or lied to each other. When he returned home, he told me that the doctor had smeared some jelly on his stomach, and then he saw what was inside his stomach through the computer. I didn't believe my brother and let him know about it. But my brother insisted on his story. It was obvious to me that my brother had gone like a cuckoo. A few years later, I learned about ultrasound. And I'm still ashamed that I didn't believe my brother and, even worse, called him a liar. I work as a mechanic at a car dealership. We see all kinds of strange game here. Wheelbarrows are trash cans, unkempt wheelbarrows, just battered wheelbarrows that don't belong on the road. But no thing compares to the little shit I'm going to tell you about. So I'm quietly working on a client's car. Suddenly, I notice one of our receptionists. With obvious disgust on his face, he pulls out some keys. Being one of the senior staff in the service, I ask, "What is it?" He replies that he has just accepted a rather battered car with the smelliest interior in the world. I laugh, ask him to get back to work, and pray that I don't have to deal with this car. But that's how luck works, I get it. Okay, I don't care. I've already had cars with moldy mats, cars with rotten eggs and milk, cars with baby vomit on the seats. It can't be that bad. I get in the car and take a deep breath. I start to choke and abruptly fall out of there. I grab my respirator for painting and sit down there again. But even this professional breathing device cannot completely save you from the stench. The car was brought in just for basic maintenance, but I'm fucking wondering what's wrong with it. Yes, it doesn't look very neat from the inside, but nothing like that. There's a McDonald's bag, old coffee cups, a duffel bag, dog treats, old receipts, paper, and other trash. Nothing out of the ordinary. Okay, I'm taking this shit to the service and doing a cursory inspection. I was told that the car's taillight had blown out. I open the trunk from the inside, get out of the car, and go to the trunk to replace the light bulb. And unfortunately, at that moment, I found the source of that stink. Dog shit. The trunk was stupidly half filled with dog shit. You know, it's like the owner of a car picked up the shit behind his dog and threw it right into the trunk without a bag. I immediately slammed the trunk shut and took the car outside. I managed to avoid working on it, and our service manager chastised the client for even daring to bring the car in like this. The worst day in life.